Please remember to.
Is everyone able to see my screen okay? Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Kathleen Fong and I'm a third-year environmental science major in William C. Porter's lab. And today I'll be talking about the air quality and environmental justice implications of San Bernardino warehouses. So as the title implies, the area of interest for my study is San Bernardino, California. If you are not aware, it is in SoCal in Southern California, and it's located in the Inland Empire. San Bernardino is known to have relatively low property values, and because of these low property values, this acts as an attraction for cheap development, particularly with warehouses. However, this type of development can have negative impacts on vulnerable residents. Poverty levels are fairly high here in San Bernardino, and as I said before, that leads to low property values and as such warehouses. Therefore, the association can be made that areas with high poverty are also vulnerable to environmental degradation. So as I just mentioned, there are high levels of socioeconomic vulnerability. Here we can see a poverty indicator map from CalEnviroscreen. CalEnviroscreen is a project made by the California Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, and it uses census tract boundaries from the 2010 census. If we look here, according to the poverty percentile in the legend, we can see a majority of San Bernardino is relatively high, ranging from the 90 to 100 percentile. One of the census tracts here, when I hovered over it and I looked further into it, stated that the census tract for that particular area was 99, meaning the percent of people living below twice the poverty level was higher than 99% of the census tracts in California. This just goes to indicate that the majority of San Bernardino is living in states far less, I guess you could say it's suitable compared to other counties in California. Additionally, there is a high density of warehouses in San Bernardino, most likely due to these low property values. And in addition, there are many other factors that could explain this boom in warehouses in the past few decades. For example, e-commerce, with the rise of the internet as well, has become very prevalent, and as a result has increased the demand for lots of shipping and other things of such, as well as San Bernardino happens to be an ideal shipping and transit hub since it is so close to coastal ports and airports. There's an airport actually, in fact, right into the center of San Bernardino. And as I mentioned before, there are low costs such as the property values, and because the rates of poverty are relatively high here, there is a workforce willing to work low wages. Air quality, as I mentioned, is also a regional concern. Here's another indicator map from CalEnviroscreen, this time looking at diesel particulate matter. According to the legend, it is also according to a percentile scale. And one of the darkest areas here showed that the diesel PM percentile for this census tract was 92, meaning that it was higher than 92% of the census tracts in California. And so with my research, I want to show that warehouses have an effect on traffic and therefore have an effect on pollutants and thus air quality, and finally, an effect on public health. The ongoing rise in warehouse construction exacerbates human health risk for communities already struggling with pollution impacts. And this is important as it's an environmental justice concern. Therefore, my hypothesis for this research is that warehouse-related increases in traffic emissions produce a significant negative impact on regional air quality and thus human health. So now I'll go further into the methodology that was used to conduct this portion of my research. Some of the inputs that were utilized were warehouse locations and warehouse construction dates. Together, I used those to geocode them, and what was produced was a warehouse dispersion map. Additionally, the warehouse construction dates and annual population estimates along with annual traffic and truck volumes was also processed by plotting the data over time, and what was produced was a series of time series plots and further data analysis. So here are two visual examples of how the proliferation of warehouses has increased drastically in San Bernardino. On the left here is an animation which I will begin to play very soon. And on the right is a bar chart showing that total of warehouses starting from 2000 to about 2019. So here, when I begin this animation here, you can see that all the red dots are the new houses that are built that year. And you can see that there is a relatively sharp rate of increase going from 2000 to 2008. But then we see it start to stagnate into 2012, where it starts to pick up again and starts to increase at a relatively steady rate again. And when we see here in the animation, when it loops back to 2000, we can see that that is a very stark difference, as there was about 100 or so warehouses built within this span of time. So because of these warehouses, or rather, there has been an increase in warehouses, and with that increase of warehouses, there has also been an increase in traffic in general, but more so truck traffic, as data has shown that local freeway truck traffic volumes have increased even faster than standard traffic vehicle traffic. Here we used AADT values, or annual average daily traffic volumes, from the Caltrans traffic census program. And here, according to the graph, you can see that standard vehicle traffic increases at a steady rate. However, trucks, despite the small dip around 2016, increases very much so after that and into 2017 as well. Population growth is a factor that also has to be considered, and that's because as population increases, people tend to put more cars on the road, and therefore it could affect traffic as well. So this is a variable that has to be taken into account. And the data used here were taken from the US Census Bureau. So looking at the growth of warehouses from 2000 to 2019, and then the traffic volumes from 2013 to 2017, we can see a slight increase in both truck traffic and growth of warehouses somewhere around 2017. They both seem to stagnate or just a little bit, ranging from 2013 to 2016, but despite that, they both seem to increase at a similar pattern. And I had also performed some preliminary data analysis, such as linear regression models, and that suggested, with the outputs that were produced, that warehouses may have an important effect on truck traffic. So just to conclude, increasing warehouse truck traffic may be driving an increase in emissions in a region already struggling with air pollution. And due to patterns of warehouse construction, these impacts are an important environmental justice issue in the Inland Empire. What I plan to do for future steps include further examining warehouse location, traffic emissions, and estimated human health impacts, so that we can truly see that this proliferation of warehouses is an environmental justice concern. And to conclude, I just want to thank William C. Porter, my lab instructor, for guiding me through this process, and I am happy to take any questions anyone may have.
Okay, does anyone have questions? Okay, there's one coming from the chat, Kathleen, so we'll fill those for you. The first question is, can you briefly explain what